How do I love? Welcome to Strange World. I'm Gaz, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Mr. Freeze. Big Chilly Willy himself. Speaking of which, you know fellas, when it gets cold, certain appendages suffer. Well, I wonder if Mr. Freeze suffers from all year round baby. I'll leave that one to your imagination. I'll just get on with the review, shall I?
This isn't funny, alright? A small dick's like a disability, man!
So Victor Fries, pronounced Freeze, is a villain from the very impressive Batman Rogues Gallery. His character was first introduced into the DC back in 1959 by writers Sheldon Moldoff and another dude called David Wood. Also, the artist for the comic back then was the ever impressive and legendary Bob Kane, who's one of the creative forces, you know, behind Batman. Also, he created another character that could possibly be appearing in this video by the name of Harvey Dent. Just looking at the tin here, this is the deluxe edition of Mr. Freeze. There he is on the box art. You can see a little glimpse of him there, imprisoned in his cryo prison. He'll be busting out soon. You can see all the design on it. All this metal is all embossed. It's very, very cool. So Mezco toys, by collectors, for collectors. I've absolutely knocked it out of the park again with this tin. It's a great collector's piece, you know, to display the tin. You could even display him in front of the tin if you wanted. There's the top of it. It's just like a biscuit tin. Let's crack it open, and hopefully there's no sewing kit inside. Boop. There you go. Let's have a look. Hey, it's an action figure. There you go, there he is in his little plastic prison. So this is him out of the tin. This is what we also get. We get a little instruction booklet that tells us exactly how to place the batteries in the light up features, and there also seems to be a tube of some kind, how the helmet works, face mask plugs in, and the effects pieces. So let's have a quick look. Oh, here he is in this plastic cryo prison. The cylinder is the base at the bottom. You see the accessories, and there's clasps at either side, and when you pop these up you can separate the two halves, or you can just open one side and just pull him out like this. There's the tube, there's the base, and here he is. We get also a little baggie here. This is to store the accessories in if you're going to keep him out of the package so nothing gets lost. And we have the arm for the action figure stand. Let's get this out properly so we can have a proper look at him. You know, back when he actually first came onto the scene, he'd go by a completely different name, that of Mr. Zero. But when he first came out, the readers didn't really take to him very well. They didn't like him at all. So that name would only last for about 7 years. Back then he was portrayed as this wacky mad scientist.
Oh Fly!
But then, in 1966, it would be redesigned and star in the ever awesome Batman, the TV show, where it'd be given the name we know today, Mr. Freeze.
If Batman will welcome the air conditioning. Wild! It'll cool you off a little. Wild!
The name Mr. Zero, it wouldn't completely go away, as he would be retconned into his past. Now, let's have a look at all these accessories. This is everything that you get with him. Here is his base. A lovely base, there's Mr. Freeze on it. This is like printed on. The name's kind of embossed a little bit. It's very nice. And has a foot peg on it for him to stand on. These bases are great. And he's quite a top heavy figure with a huge backpack on him. So the foot peg will definitely come in handy for displaying him. He also comes with this action figure arm, so if you want to put him in any dynamic poses, this attaches to the base and will give him a lot of stability. Now, if no one's ever messed around with these before, maybe you're picking up your first Mezco figure, you might be wondering, why can I not pop this foot peg out of here? Well, it doesn't actually pop out, it pops in, kind of. So you can turn the action figure arm the other way around and you use the end, you just press it on the back, cover it up so you can catch the peg and give it a little push. There you go. And we have the little peg here, pop that down, turn the base over, then the arm just slots into it. There you go. Now, I've also got to say that these action figure stands are probably the best in the business, in my opinion. It has 4 joints in it, which can all be adjusted with a screwdriver, and you have the little arm that can grab him by the waist. But I also use it in other ways, like if I want to do flying poses, maybe I'll grab someone by a belt or something so I can propel them higher in the air. So that's the base and the stand. Put that off to one side and we'll have a look at exactly what we have here. So he comes with 4 sets of hands, 3 in the box and 2 on him. He's got these 2, which is one is for like waving, and then with this one you can pick his nose or scratch his ear. Then he has 2 hands that are for his weapons. There's 2 gripping hands, so you can hold a weapon in each hand. So if you'd like to display him with holding 2 guns, you can do. And then finally, he's got the most stylized hands. He's got a nice relaxed hand, and then this hand, which is like a claw. Or you can do like a maniacal laugh or holding his hand up, or maybe you want to scratch someone's back or grab someone's butt. You know, it's your action figures, your toys, you do whatever you want to do with them. But yeah, you can grab someone's butt with that. Then he also comes with his dome, which covers his head and makes, you know, he keeps him sheltered from the elements, keeps him nice and cool. And this part that clicks onto the front, so this little section here snaps into just around here on the figure, and then covers the helmet. I'll show you in a minute when I put it onto him. Now you can have him in a few different looks. You can put that on without the face, so this kind of covers the face, or if you wanted to keep it on to give him more of like an armored look, you could do that. Or if you just wanted to put that on and make it like it's some kind of respirator on him, that would also be a cool look. He comes with 2 head portraits. He comes with this very stoic head, maybe, you know, he's just kind of thinking about stuff. And then he comes with this Mezco grumpy face. Oh, I'm so grumpy, I'm so sad, I'm so cold, I can't feel my testicles. Oh. So, there you go, that's the 2 head portraits. And then he also comes with this tube. Now this tube is a bendy wire, so you can pose this however you'd like. Now this attaches into the back of his suit. There is some holes at the back, 3 holes, you know, any hole's a goal. And then this, the other end, will attach into the hole on this ice cannon. Now let's have a look at this beast. This is huge, an absolute work of art. It has this amazing frost effect on it. Now this frost effect is created by like a white flock, and it actually does look like a really nice frost. It also has the ability to light up, and what you have to do is, see this little nozzle here, this just pops off, and then you can see a tiny little screw hole here. So it's like a starhead screwdriver, Phillips. Unscrew that, this will come off, and then we can pop the batteries in, which I will do momentarily. And then you have his more standard ice ray weapon that you would see him wield in pop culture media. Has lovely blue paint on it, a lot of silver, and also has the beautiful frost flock on it. Very nice gun. And then he also comes with free freeze effects. Try saying that quick. He has this one that can attach to maybe someone's face or someone's arm. That's pretty cool. Then he has this effect, which is the ice blast. Again, it has the flocking on it, and this is a soft material, and what happens is this grips onto your victim's chest. I suppose you could put it anywhere that would fit onto the opposing figure, and the grip. So that's a cool effect. And then there is the big one, the boot. It's a really big shoe. Basically, it's a huge like shoe effect. There's again soft plastic. An action figure's foot will sit in here. You see where the space for the foot, and then this will freeze them to the floor. And all this freeze effect has been molded in this beautiful clear blue plastic with like this white dry brushing over the top to make it look all frosty. So now that we've had a look at the accessories, let's take a closer look at the figure himself and talk about his articulation. As the design of Mr. Freeze has changed quite a bit over the years. Mezco have seemed to have given the design pre 52. 52 was like a run of comics that nobody seemed to like, but me. Anyway, they've seemed to mash up a couple of his old looks to give us this design. I think it's come off something absolutely tremendous. Now, this figure was delayed quite a long time. It took ages to drop from the pre-order to actually getting him in hand, and I guess most of that was due to, you know, factories closing over the pandemic and stuff. But as you can see, just looking at this guy, there's an godly amount of work being put into him, and as we can see, the immense stitch work that has been put into this. Every single bit of this quilt has been stitched, all on this, up on his chest, on the arms. And that blue paint's fantastic. Love that blue paint. and that colour matches with the fabric very, very well. This is like a pleather. You see he's got little buckles on his wrists and like studs on the opposite side. His boot has some kind of buckle down here on the edge of his boot, more studs and straps. Very cool. The belt buckle looks awesome. And then we have, you know, his huge body armor, the cryo technology that's keeping him alive, his tubing. And then we turn him round, look at that, the creme de resistance, the beautiful backpack with the amazing frost flock effect as well. And all these little tubes that you can see here, these are actually where it will all light up. They're the holes for the pipe to go in. To get the batteries in at the back, this pops off, and then you use the same little star Phillips screwdriver to undo that. Pop the batteries in, which I'll do, and there you go. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the inside of the suit, the sculpt of the face. I think the skin color as well is fantastic. You see all the veins in his head. And you can even see like the pores on his skin. It's very, very good. He looks a bit like what's that guy's name who plays Commissioner Gordon? I'm sure someone will know. Simmons. Where are you, Spider-Man? You know, the guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson.
You serious?
Okay, let's talk about this articulation, shall we? So, starting at the top, the head and neck are two separate pieces. Sometimes Mezco like to make them one solid piece. I much prefer it when they do it this way. The head's going to be hindered a little bit by the collar at the back. We can get him to look this far up, this far down, which is pretty good. His head can look right, left. In fact, it can turn all the way around. The figure can also do a lot of head tilt, which gives him a lot of character when you're posing him. And these shoulders are on basically these two pegs which make them floating. You can push them in, which will lock them to the body, but while we're moving them about, I'm just going to leave them pulled out a little bit. Now the shoulders are on butterfly hinges, but we don't get a ton of movement up the top. I think it probably would have been better if they would have just cut away on the sculpt just a little bit to get the arm to come forward just a little bit. Now with Mezco figures, because you can't see the joints, you have to kind of feel for them, otherwise, you know, you don't want to have a snap or a breakage when you're trying to force a limb to do something that it can't. So we know this is a bicep swivel, which is pretty good, and the fabric moves with the arms very well. It has a double jointed elbow, which is great. That's way more than 90 degrees. That's perfect for him. It'll help him hold his weapons a lot better. The gauntlet, this top part is a floating piece, so it can move, it can swivel, and the wrist and the hand is like a ball peg, so this can go up and down. Don't be dirty. It can go side to side, backwards and forwards. It can do anything you want it to do. It's great articulation there. Moving down the body now, he has a torso articulation. He also has abdominal articulation. With the top torso, he can lean forward this much, and he can lean back this much. It's not too much, but when you add it with the abdominal crunch, you know, you can get him to come really, really far forward and really far back. So the articulation is pretty good in this guy. Just be careful when you're bending him about if you get a figure. Also with the top, you can have a lot of tilt, which is great, and also twist. And twisting is brilliant because the twisting can help you with walking poses or just if you was like trying to do like a fighting pose, or you know. Then we come further down the legs. I give away a little bit of a sneak peek then, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So the groin articulation, I thought it was going to be hindered by the cloth in the pants, but it seems to be baggy enough that you can get quite a bit out of it. So to come to the side, not too bad. He's not going to be doing the splits, but I wouldn't be expecting him to be doing that anyway. Going forward, can nearly do 90, but as I say, I can't see him canning after Batman unless this was the, you know, the 60s show. Speaking of the 60s show, and I was talking about my favourite incarnation of him, so my favourite incarnation has got to be the portrayal by the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger in Batman and Robin.
Let's kick some ice. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Masterpiece, chef's kiss. Oh, I'm only pulling your leg. Oh, my favourite incarnation of Mr. Freeze has to be the 1992 Batman the Animated Series version.
Who are you? Come now. Surely you remember your old colleague, Victor Freeze. No! No! Stop! Please. Beg you. You beg?
Created by Bruce Timm and written by Paul Dini. Now in this show, Paul Dini, the writer, really fleshed out the character and gave him like a really deep and rich backstory, where Victor Freeze was a brilliant cryogenicist, pathologist and neuroscientist trying to save his sick and dying wife Nora, and would later would be an incident at his lab, and while he was putting his beloved wife into suspended animation, freezing her until he could find a cure for her. During this incident, Victor's body would get altered from the chemicals and cryo technology, leaving him basically a walking popsicle.
Stay away from her! Murderer! Victor, I'm sorry. I lost my temper. It doesn't have to come to this. We can talk. Oh! Oh! Get out! Get out! Nora! Nora!
Now he would have to wear his famous suit, his cryotech, to keep himself chilled and keep himself alive. And you know, he'd also invent his cryo technology, like his ice cannon and the ice ray, which probably is the more recognized gun in his pop culture. It's the one he's mainly depicted with in the comics and shows and things. Now, with him being a scientist and a genius and not a wacky nut job anymore, as written like it was in the 60s, his technology is very sought after by a lot of characters in the DC universe. Anyway, so let's have a look at his legs then. So he's got a thigh swivel, which is great. You can do a lot with a thigh swivel. The knee, I can feel like a kneecap, so I'm going to say that's a double jointed knee. Yep, you can get that really far up. Jesus. He's also, like the gauntlet, the boot seems to be a floating piece, so you can swivel it. and then the foot can go forward and backwards, left and right, and it has fantastic ankle pivot. If you want to get in any of those low stances, those fighting stances, that is brilliant for that. It's a bit top heavy at the back, but yeah, you can get some pretty cool poses out of him. Now what I'll do is I'll pick up his gun and I'll put his helmet on and stuff, and then we'll take another look at him with the lights up features, and I'll swap the heads and the arms out. So here we go. We'll start with the head. I want you to do to take the head off, you just hold it from the chest, you pinch it at the top, and you pull it off, and it makes the most incredible satisfying sound. Listen to this. Oh,
Got him!
yeah, one more time. Beautiful, beautiful. And then take the Mezco head. Oh, it's so grumpy. We just pop it on, just push it on. There you go, that's on. Now to do the hands, what you do is you hold it at the wrist and just pop it off. Same on the other side, pop it off. Make a nice little popping noise too. On the right side, I'm going to put his weapon holding hand here. And then on the left side, I'm going to put the butt grabbing hand on. Because, you know, he is evil. Give me those cheeks, Batman. So that's those on. Now his ice ray will just sit in the holster. Now it doesn't click in like a solid click or anything, but it will hold it pretty well. So that's on there. The dome just sits on, a little push that goes in. Then the little respirator or the armored piece, just like a little groove at the top here, and this just pushes in. There you go. Now I do actually prefer the look, I think, without this piece on, because you can see his face a bit more, but it is all personal preference. And then at the back, I've already fed the tube into the hole, because that was very, very tight trying to get that into there.
I have a tight body. Yes, I see that from your tight pants. Yes, you are tight like a tiger.
So it was a bit of a ball ache trying to do that on camera. So I'm going to lie him down now. I'll take the gun and I will just feed this into this hole here. That goes in there a lot more easy. That's what she said.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
And then the gun's actually on a bit of the handle's on a bit of an awkward angle. So it can be a bit of a pain trying to get that in there. And then for him to hold it, because it is so heavy. So there you go, that's him holding the gun. Now I'll try and put him into a pose now where he's holding the gun with both hands, firing it and looking quite menacing. It can be quite of a challenge because the butterfly joints, obviously they run into the sculpt, and you need to be able to get the arms to move in and out a little easier for him to hold the gun with both hands. Also, with the hands being like a soft plastic, almost like rubber, there's nowhere really for him to grip on this side of the cannon. So if it was a bit firmer, he'd be able to grab something, but this is the only place here, this pipe, it doesn't really grab it all that firmly. But anyway, let me see if I can get him into a nice pose for you. And there you go. You get him holding the gun and make him, he looks like he's about to blast it. I didn't think I would be able to pull the pose off at first, but what I had to do is bring this arm right back, tuck it in with using the double joints, use the ab crunch and the twist in the top parts of the abdomen joint, straighten this arm as much as I can, and then I utilised the thigh swivel and the ankle pivot. I think that looks pretty good. Blasting the gun. Should we take a look at the lights now and see what they look like? Let's pop these bad boys out. There's 1, 2, 3, and let's have a look, shall we? Now there's still quite a bit of light coming into this room. You should be able to get a half decent effect. Yeah, he looks sick. He's a stone cold villain, you know. And speaking of him being a stone cold villain, as far as his character goes, he's also very sympathetic as well. And with everything that, you know, that he's going through with his wife and his situation with his health as well.
Think of it, Batman. To never again walk on a summer's day with a hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold. Oh yes, I'd kill for that.
But he also hates Batman. That's, you know, why he's in the Rogues Gallery, because Batman, you know, he's always getting in his way and preventing him from going to the extreme lengths that he thinks are needed to save Nora. And yet he's also been known to help Batman, so yeah, he's a very, very complex character. Let's see the light. You can actually see it shining on my hand, so it is quite a powerful beam. I'll get some pictures at the end with better lighting, so just so you can see how much they stand out. Let's pop this helmet off a second and give you a better look at what the lights look like under his helmet. You can see that lights up all of his face, all of his neck. It looks brilliant. Like I say, I prefer it without the face guard on, just so you can see the lights and stuff a little bit better. Van Dabby Dorsey, look at that. Right, I think we should have a look at him now, comparing with a couple more of the rogues from Batman's Rogue Gallery. What do you think? So just before I bring on my first size comparison, let me tell you just a little bit about some of his abilities. You know, he has this suit which provides him with enhanced durability, and it also gives him superhuman strength. You know, he utilizes his cryo technology not only to keep him alive, but to obviously build all these cannons and ice rays and make ice bombs and things, which helps him in his struggle to find, you know, cures or to acquire things, to find a cure to save his wife. You know, he has a genius level intellect. He's one of the smartest people in the DC universe, and his body is so cold. His skin is so cold that if he were to touch you skin to skin, you made that contact, he would just literally freeze you to a block of ice, just by touching you. And because of his affliction, this condition that is this internal ice, all these organs being frozen, so with all that happening, he's pretty much impervious to any kind of toxins and venoms. They just don't harm him at all. He also has a very, very cold small penis. Anyway, bringing on our first one, I may have mentioned him before, it is Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Here he is. Now looking at them both together, I think Mr. Freeze may be a hair taller, but they both run on the same kind of slim bodies. He's just bulked out with all this body armor. Now our second rogue that I'm going to bring on Batman's Rogue Gallery is going to be the Terminator. That's right, Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. Here he is, Slade.
I am the greatest, most fierce, most nefarious, most ultimate supervillain the world has ever seen. I am Slade.
Slade. Wow, his name is really fun to say dramatically. Slade. 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 Slade.
Silence!
And he is stockier, a little bit shorter than both of those characters, but his articulation in the figure is perfect. You know, he has all the same articulation as Mr. Freeze, but he might be hindered just a touch with the abdomen with this plastic part here, but it's pretty soft, so it's not too much of a hindrance. Anyway, we can't really talk about a size comparison without bringing on the main man himself, really, can we? So let's bring on the Batman. Here he is, Batman. I think they stack up pretty well together. Again, Mr. Freeze may be a hair taller. Batman is a hell of a lot more stocky. Now, Mezco have made many Batman figures, but they did their own version of him, like Batman Throughout the Ages, and they released 3 figures. They released a younger version of him where he's just getting on the scene. It was quite low tech. Then they did like him in his prime with like a better styled suit and more gadgets. And then this version of him where he's more grizzled, you know, he's like a veteran, more styled on the Frank Miller art from The Dark Knight. And there you go. That's the 112 Collective Mr. Freeze. I hope you've enjoyed the review. I hope you've enjoyed listening to a bit about his character and found his story fascinating. And if you like what you've seen, please give that like button a big old slap on the ass. And even if you didn't, thanks for watching until the end. Now please ding my donger and subscribe for more content. I'm out of here.
Holy flypaper!